Well, let's start. Hi, my name's Aadi,
And I am Adi.
and you're having chai with Aadi.
Adi and Adi.
Perfect. Well, we'll introduce our first guest very soon, Ritika, who we're really, really lucky to have today. But first, a few people actually have been asking me how we came up with this idea for Aadi and Aadi. Aditya, why don't you take this one?
Yeah. So, I had a thought that the other day that, like, one person, like Gurudev, has connected all of us throughout the world, and he is managing, I don't know, 156, 157 countries. And recently, during the lockdown, there was this wave of stories and getting to know each other across the world. And I thought it's a good idea. Let's get to know people in Australia and our wonderful teachers and volunteers who work here. And they have some amazing stories, some amazing experiences. And then Adi and me, we did our volunteer training program together.
Yes, yes.
And at that time we didn't even know about all this concept, but we had just like we were just joking around. We were like, one day we should start our own talk show, like Chai with Adi and Adi, and it happened.
Yes. Well, actually, we're really, that's exactly how it started, everyone. And we're really, really lucky to be able to put this together and have all these teachers and volunteers come forward and share their stories
Yeah.
in the community and wider. So it's very nice. I'll start off with our first guest before we figure out what we're all drinking today.
Yeah.
Ritika. She's a lovely teacher from up in Queensland, and she's a mum of two. Sorry?
From Perth.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Perth. And she's a mum of two. She's been a teacher for the last 3 years, and she works in one of the big 4 banks. And she's also a dancer as well, which I think is extra cool because I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer myself. So we'd love to hear more about that too, and for you to share your guru stories. Thank you so much for being online with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and such a nice initiative that you both have taken to speak to so many people across Australia. I think pat yourself on the back for taking the time out and coordinating everything.
Oh yeah, it's really our pleasure. Like, I'm learning so much every time we speak to someone. But first, what are you drinking today?
I'm having a lemon and ginger tea.
Wow.
What have you got, Aditya?
So, like I am doing the Shri Shri Yoga TTP. So since a few weeks, I have been having water with honey and lemon.
Nice. Well, I might have the one most left field from the rest of you. I'm having my Chinese herbs. They're sweet and bitter at the same time. It's good though. I know if you know it's good for you, you just drink it. Anyway, yeah, good to see we're all drinking different things today. But we'd like to get to know you better, Ritika. So what we're going to do in the show is first ask a little bit about you, and then find out how your journey's been going through Art of Living. So Aditya, first question, please.
So, first of all, welcome Ritika. And to all the viewers who are watching, you can also interact with Ritika in the comment section. Ritika, we just want to know more about you and something about your childhood. So if you could share some lovely childhood memory with us that that has helped you shape into what you are today, that will be amazing.
Sure. I mean, one is obviously you mentioned dance, and I remember when I was younger, I did a school project on ballet. I had to research on ballet, and I did all this research. And while I was researching and watching the videos and photos and writing it down, I sort of fell in love with the dance form. I said, I would love to learn ballet. So I pleaded and pleaded with my mother, like, please let me go to ballet classes. And she was like, initially, she was not very much for it, so I pleaded and cried, and I was very upset. And then finally, one day she said, okay, fine, you can start your ballet classes. And I distinctly remember I was so happy. I had like a little journal, and I wrote on it, this is one of the happiest moments of my life, that my mom's allowed me to go for these ballet classes, and I just remember that as a very strong memory. I was just so excited that I got that chance to start dance classes. So I remember that as a great memory. A little bit if you want a bit of a background on me, I was born in Delhi, but as soon as I was born, my dad got a job in Mumbai or Bombay, and we were there till I was 7. And then we migrated to the Middle East when I was about 7 years old. And it was a very interesting time in the Middle East because during the 7 years we were in the Middle East, the Gulf War also happened.
Mm.
And it was a very interesting process as a child, it probably doesn't really impact you very much, but you're observing everything that's going on, and you can observe the fear in people, and you can observe the fear in your parents and in society, etc. But as a child, you just kind of carry on doing your thing, play, routine. It doesn't impact you so much. But then there was my parents took the view to move to a place that's a bit safer, and
Mhm.
I got PR for Australia, and we moved to Australia when I was 14. And I remember that was quite stressful for me as a child because I was a very big introvert. As a child, I was always very concerned about what people think of me, how they're going to judge me in a negative way. I used to suck my thumbs. I had these really teeth that used to come out quite out, and I had to get braces, and I was worried I'm going to get the headset braces. And so I was very conscious that I'm not attractive as a person, or I'm very judged, not only just on looks but as a person as well. And so I was highly introverted. And then moving to a new country and a new city, was a challenge for me to adjust initially when I first came to Australia. But
I'm sure that's a common experience that people have. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And you told me, because we talked to our guests before they come, that you were part of a youth group.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I had when I was a young child, I used to watch my grandfather whenever I used to, because every year from the Middle East, we used to go back to India for 2 months as a extended break, and we'd stay with my grandparents and my nana, or my maternal side grandfather. And I'd watch in the morning. He had this very set routine. He would wake up, he would do his puja, or his his thing within the temple, and then he has his own set yoga routine and his breathing routine and I used to watch this every day. When I was staying with him, I used to watch this, and I used to say, I'll wake up next morning, I'll wake up on time and shower and be ready, but I would never quite make it on time, but I'd be there for some of it. So I used to watch that he had this routine of his, and that really and from a young age, I think I used to have that sort of I used to ask, why do people have these fancy cars? But they're poor people as well. Why don't you just have a normal car and give the rest of your money away? As a child, these are the kind of sort of, thoughts used to come to me as it's very natural for a child, these sort of benevolent sort of thoughts of, what is the point of all of this? I don't understand it. So then, my parents also very spiritual people, have always wanted to have gone beyond just, I think, religious or traditional things. We've celebrated all the big Hindu festivals, but at the same time, they used to always want to know more. And that inspired them to put that onto us as children, me and my brother. And they got us started into a youth group, which was with the forgotten the name of the organization now, but we started with them. So I think it was every week, sit down together and discuss knowledge, etc. And it's a good thing to do for youth, because there's so much hormonal change happening, so much going on, and it's a nice way to get together with an adult that's not your parent and talk through things as well as other youths. So that's kind of how I guess my spiritual journey, if you like, started, was probably with that youth group.
When was your first
Chinmaya Mission, actually. Now the name comes to me, the Chinmaya Mission.
Oh, nice. And is that how you got into Art of Living as well?
Yeah, so one of the ladies who used to conduct the session, her name was Sunita, and she was also involved in Art of Living. I didn't know much about that at the time. And she said, this wonderful teacher is coming to Perth, and y'all should come and do the course. And so 6 months actually before that, a teacher from Sydney had come, and my dad had done the course with them in the Art of Living basic course that it was called then. And he had a huge change, health improvements as a result of doing the course. He was very high, his cholesterol results were coming quite high, and he did the course. And after 6 months of doing, and he used to practice the techniques every day, he saw his cholesterol levels, the good cholesterol go up, which is quite rare, and the bad cholesterol come down. So his overall reading improved. So I knew that he had these health benefits, but all the same, this lady kept saying, to told the whole youth group, you must do the course, you must do the course. And typically, as we normally do, or I've seen people do this now, is they go, they say, later, when the time is right, right now I don't know, or I'm not sure I can afford it, and all those sort of excuses even I also made. And but she was quite like pushy, she said, no, you must do it, you must, don't miss an opportunity. And so I said, okay, she's been saying, and they've been teaching me in this youth group, so let's do it. And
yeah, we only tend to postpone something that's good, don't we?
Correct. Yeah. So I've done it, so I understand these things. I've done it myself. So it was nice. But in the first course, it was my dad repeated, my mom, me, and my brother. So our whole family, we did the course together. 3 of us were obviously new. So it's very special, when I think back and I think, wow, that's so lucky that we all could do it together.
Beautiful. Well, we want to find out more about your experiences, but first, rapid fire round.
Oh gosh, I should be scared.
Yes, that's the best part.
For us.
Best part for others, not for the person.
So
we'll find out. Maybe it'll be good for me too.
Well, for our viewers and all the young sadhaks out there, I know you started your journey very, very young. What are your tips on finding a partner as a sadhak?
Finding a partner. Oh, wow. This is a tough one. If I relate just my own experience, I think the reality is developing a friendship, really getting to know somebody and not judging straight away. I think I've done this. I remember when I was young is, your parents ask you to meet somebody or someone wants to set you up with somebody. And you have that in your head that, oh my God, you meet them the first time and already you're like, could I end up with this person? It's too quick to make that judgment call, so give the person a chance, get to know them a little bit, develop a friendship, and then see how it goes. Because at the end of the day, it's a companionship, the friendship, and being on the same moral level playing field and values that really help you, I think, in your relationships. So that's what I would say. Long-winded answer.
That's a good one. Okay, our next question, it's kind of fun. So if you were an animal, which animal would you want to be and why?
I think I'd like to be an elephant, believe it or not. It's funny, but when I did my first basic course, my teacher was Dinesh Khodke. And I had this lovely friend in Melbourne named Shivani, and she's a little bit of a bigger girl, and we used to both be really close to Dinesh. And he used to say, in the old days, a compliment to a woman would be saying, you walk like an elephant. Now, if you said that now, you'd get a whack, right? Like, how dare you call me an elephant? But if you think about it, and you see, elephants are so majestic. They are the kings of the jungle or queens of the jungle. And they're so majestic, so graceful, but you could see, they're huge, but they're so graceful, so my views on elephants changed.
Nice. If that's one takeaway from your basic course, that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, from one dancer to another, what do you feel is the link, if there is any, between dance and spirituality?
Yeah, I think it's a lovely question because I didn't appreciate that when I was younger, but when I was, being more on the spiritual path or wanting to grow myself as a person, but also continuing to dance as a passion. I'm not a professional, I'm just an amateur, but as a passion, dancing, I can really see the connection between the two. Simple things like before you start, like you would know, Aadi, before you even start, you sort of touch the floor and you honor nature, you honor environment, you honor your teacher to be able to learn. So all these aspects of honoring and respecting, it's very nice, very much linked. And then I think when I've watched really beautiful professional dancers dance on a stage, the best ones are the ones that, when they're doing a dance drama, the way their expressions are, or the way they move themselves, makes you feel like that, like they're expressing joy or happiness or sadness, that they can evoke those emotions in you. And similarly, evoke those emotions of peace, of joy, of celebration in you as well. So being able to, that is, I think, the beauty of any artist, whether they're a singer or whether they're a dancer or a painter, is to evoke that sense of wow, and bring you so much into the present, into the present moment, which is really all that, if you look at Sri Ravi Shankar or Guruji or Gurudev, as we call him, that is what he keeps telling us to do, come more and more into the present moment, and with the sense of wow, wonder. Yeah.
Continuing my obsession with animals and jungles. So my question to you is that if you were to live in a jungle, but you could only take 3 people with you, who would those 3 people be?
Gosh, can I pass? No. Who would I take with me? I think I'd actually just take my whole family with me. I take my husband and my 2 daughters with me, and enjoy the adventure.
We could make this question a bit easier for you. If you were to be stuck on an island,
Yeah,
and you could take only 3 things with you, what would those 3 things be to survive?
to survive, I'll take a phone so I can get out of there, and probably bathers, and hopefully there's so that I can swim out of there. Hopefully the other place is not too far away, and maybe a lifeboat or something, or life vest.
Good one.
Survival.
Very, very practical.
Yeah.
I would have, I think I would have said something different about like rope and like being able to swing off the tree to the next island or something. Well, since your basic course, or like, how did your life change? Did it?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question, so like I said, this teacher told me, to do this course, and I was like, oh, later, everything's fine in my life. I follow the program. There's nothing horrible going wrong in my life that I should do this course. But anyway, I did it. But when I did it, I realized, wow, there is so much more that I have, so much more, I would say, self-awareness about myself. And I realized, there's all these things that I can improve in myself. And as a student, because I was only 19 when I did the course, is a lot of, I say 3 things improved for me. The first one I often talk about is my perception improved. So my view of the outside world. Like I told you, I was a huge introvert. And my most hated, if I could say such a strong word, would be to enter a room full of people, even if I knew them. But I did not like doing that. Or when people came over to my parents' house, they would say like, oh, go and say hi. And I didn't even want to say that. Yes, I was highly introverted. So I realized when I did the course that, this is actually, in a way, it is my ego that is coming up. I'm always concerned about what others are thinking about me. So when I did the course, I realized actually people don't care about me, even if they have made a negative judgment about me. They're not sitting awake at night thinking about it. Yeah, it's all in my own head. So I started perceiving the world differently as well. That my perception really changed. And then the second one I say is my observation really changed of myself, self-awareness, self-observation. So, I can still be a perfectionist, and I was probably more so back then. I like everything absolutely right. And but when things don't go absolutely right, then I used to explode, get very, very angry. And often I would let things, pile up, bottle up. And then the smallest thing would trigger and let me off the hook. So I realized this about myself. Oh, I am like this. This is what I'm doing. I'm getting angry for a split second. It's impacting relationships. So then I sort of, just that self-awareness of it slowly started bringing the shift and the change. So the observation of myself. And the third is my expression improved. So you can imagine a 19-year-old, who do they have the biggest issues with, right? Usually parents, and siblings. Yeah. So same thing. I was a similar 19-year-old, so I found that my communication really improved because I saw that, my parents actually, they're only looking for love and respect and quality time. And I say this often even in courses, quality time doesn't mean you're sitting in the same house as them for 8 hours in a day. Yeah. It means actually when you're with them, you're fully present, making them feel loved and cared and respected. So these are the three things I say improve: perception, observation, and expression for me really improved. And I'm not saying I've reached my pinnacle of growth. I'm obviously still growing, changing, evolving. I feel improving and becoming more self-aware.
You evolved quite fast after the first course because you went straight to the ashram afterwards, right?
Yeah, so maybe because I was young, or that is how my nature was. I think I was very I hope I am still like this actually, we're a bit more simple and more innocent. And when my teacher used to say, give your 100%, I would give my 100% in every process. If he said breathe 100%, I would breathe 100%. So whatever my teacher said, I do it. So he said, you must go and meet Sri Ravi Shankar. And to be honest, even just seeing his photo in the course over this, because it was a 6-day course in those days, in the 6 days, I really felt like there's a connection there, and there was that desire to know more. But I felt that connection with Gurudev, if you like, instantaneously, the first course only. And so my teacher Dinesh Ghodke said, you must go and meet Sri Ravi Shankar. So I can't remember exactly when, a year or two later, I used to have family in Bangalore, so I went to Bangalore and I made my trip to the ashram in the old days back then, 2001, I think, or 2002. And and I went to that old amphitheater, and there he was coming for satsang. Normally he comes for satsang, so I waited, and he came. And when he was coming, I just felt this whole outpouring of emotion and tears, and I'm saying everybody can obviously express his emotions differently. But for me, I guess that was the feeling of, devotion or bhakti or love, right? And so I just sort of knew this is the path for me. This is what is there for me. And then I met Dinesh there by sort of accident in the ashram. He said, "Oh, you're here. You've come." And he said, "Who have you come with?" I said, "No one. I've come alone." He said, "Oh, you've come all the way, all alone." I said, "Yeah, I've come alone. You said to meet, so I've come to meet him." And he said, "Okay, this is the line darshan place, where you can get to a meeting with him." So I went there, and so like that sort of started for me. Yeah.
That's beautiful, actually, and what you said about innocence, and when you go with that innocence to the master, it's just a very different feeling. And I think as we do our kriya every day and as we do our practices, we return back to that innocence, that state of innocence, and it's just so beautiful. And Ritika, you have met Gurudev a few times, right? And obviously, like, Gurudev has so many qualities, but what is that thing that surprises you most about Gurudev?
Yeah, I think, one is he really walks the talk. So all this knowledge or that we listen to of his wisdom or the happiness program points, whatever you have learned, he walks the talk, and he's a living example of that. And that inspires you. When you see, I think, somebody who does that, you feel like, okay, even I would like to be like that. You feel inspired to be like that person. And one example I give is one of the meetings. This is one of the few or almost only times where we had the strong desire that I have to have this conversation, with him. And my parents were there as well. And we were in Bali, and all three of us had the strong desire that this time we have to ask him something. It's very important. And we ended up talking to him, and there were heaps of people, as heaps, hundreds around him, all with the same thing, wanting to talk to him. But when he came to us and we spoke to him, what I admired was he was so 100% with us. Full 100% attention was there. I thought, if I look at myself, imagine if I'm a shopkeeper in the shop and there's a queue of 10 of people, I'll be like, trying to hurry everybody up so that I can get through those 10 people. Yeah, there are hundreds around us, but he didn't have any sense of hurry or urgency or look, so many more are waiting, let me hurry up with this person. Nothing. He was just so 100%, give you that full attention. And for me, that was a great learning, because I thought, wow, if we boil down to it, all our relationships that we have, that is what we really seek, that people are there with us, fully present. And in this digital age, it's becoming more rare, that most people, they're on the phone or messages or checking something, they're so not 100% there. And it irritates you, normally when you're looking for that attention, it doesn't come, it annoys you, irritates you, but when that person is present, and it doesn't mean it's a quantity of time, it is that quality of the time. It doesn't mean that you have to be like that all the time, but even for a few minutes in a day, in your relationships, when you can be fully present, that person feels so good. Like I felt so good, my parents felt so good, that somebody really listened with full attention and heart. Yeah, I mean, I can go on and on, but that's one of the qualities.
Yeah, that's it. That's beautiful actually. And actually what you're saying is so right. Like if somebody gives their 100% in being with you, you don't need to spend a lot of time. Like Gurudev, when we meet him, like for a few seconds or a minute, he's there, but it has made our life, it changes our life altogether, just a few minutes of his presence. And I think that is one takeaway we can take from you, that being there 100% in whatever we do, or in all our relationships, be it our parents, friends, family. Now so many of our teachers and volunteers are watching from Australia, and this video will remain on YouTube, so for the coming years people will watch it. So what is your tip, or what are those lessons you would like to share with us as teachers and volunteers?
So I'm going to share out of my own experience, because my own journey, that's what I've learned. So I don't like to give sermons, but from my experience, there have been times, like I've been in art living now more than 20 years. And through my journey, there have been times as a volunteer, especially because majority of the time I've been a volunteer, 17 odd years I've been a volunteer only. And if sometimes, you feel like you've done lots of work, you've done lots of great seva, and somebody else gets a credit, or nobody says well done or pat on the back, and sometimes inside you get a little bit upset that, oh, how come didn't happen to me. But anyway, I used to continue. I noticed many people fell off the path like this also. Many people didn't get the recognition and they fell off the path. But I stayed, I continued, even though I experienced the emotions going up and down. I could sense in my self-awareness that this upset me. But then later I came, to the realization through life experiences as well, that any recognition we get or we don't get, anyway, it is so fleeting. It doesn't really matter at all. When you go to the ashram, you go to Bangalore, you see so many people are doing so much work. There are so many people on the stage, but there are many more behind the stage, and there's so many more also in the crowd also. Yeah, the people, and many more will come, many more will come, many more will go also. So there is no need to get caught up in this thing of wanting recognition. You get it also, 2 hours later nobody will remember it. Okay, so there's no need. You just do it from, like Guruji says, you do seva as a spirit of service without expecting anything in return. I would say, one, for me, that was a growth and a learning in life, and that's what I would share. And the other also that I've, through my own experience, that I would share is that transcending the form. We've just, some of you might have all watched the Bhakti Sutras that Guruji gave commentary on, which is really nice to see and hear and be with, of course. But one of the things that I really like, and I can experience that, is now to transcend the form. Sometimes we get so attached to Guruji as the persona, not the physical body, which is also important. It's a journey. See, like he was saying in the Bhakti Sutras, our mind likes forms. Yeah, that's why we like images or photos or videos. And so to see a form like him, because he is an inspiring leader. So when he comes into a physical form and he's walking the talk and he makes you feel inspired, you first connect with the form, right? But then once you've connected with the form, you also need to transcend the form to the formless, and know that the Guru principle, the Guru Tattva, the Guru energy is beyond the form. It's an energy, it's a presence, it's a space. But it is good to transition. It's good to, I'm not saying never meet him. I think it's very important to go and meet him and, see the form, meet the form, see it, everything live in a form. And then also, but transcend the form. Just because people have got the best photos with him, or or his phone number or whatever it is, doesn't necessarily mean that they're more special or anything like that. Everybody is special to him, and it's a very personal connection, just like you were saying, no, Adi, that when he meets you or he looks into your eyes, you feel good, like, oh, I got some time, I got that presence. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to get a message is, it's a personal connection and it doesn't have to be physical.
I think that's a really good point, because I've started on my journey recently and I haven't met Gurudev yet in person. And so while it's all theory, like it's theory, then you experience it and then you live it. And this idea of Guru being a presence. Now, Gurudev says it a lot, especially in silence, about his presence. I think it's just understanding it, accepting it, and honoring the connection that you have with him and that he's chosen to be in your life. And I think another thing that from Bhakti Sutras, since you brought it up, which I thought was very beautiful. I don't know what day Gurudev said it, but he said, if you love someone, love, devotion, bhakti, love someone, it's absurd if you don't do something for them. Mm-hmm. So really the dedication that we all have to what he represents, that is also a drive for us to continue to spread all the beautiful things he spreads and to work towards a stress-free, violence-free society. So thank you for bringing that up as well. Mm-hmm. Like for someone who's like early in years on the path, that's quite comforting to hear.
You're doing a wonderful job. So you already, without meeting him, you're so inspired to run these sessions and to volunteer. It's really, really lovely. You're very fortunate.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for sharing your experiences today. Mm-hmm. Everyone, please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, press the bell. Have I missed anything else? What other YouTube things do our subscribers need to do?
I think that's it. Share it on all your social media platforms, share it with other people. And don't know like when a story might, just trigger somebody and create some magic around them. So thank you so much, Ritika, for being here today.
Thanks, Aadi and Aadi, for reaching out and making the time for the session and listening to my stories. And it's great to know you both.
Thank you, Ritika. It's been very, very valuable for us. Can we just take a photo with you?
Yeah, with our cups.
With our cups.
Photos.
Just a second. Yep, well done. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Gurudev.
Bye, Jai Gurudev.
And next, we have some few more guests coming, Aadi. So we have Shantanu and Raghavi.
A very soulful Sydney couple who are volunteering together. We're really excited to have them on.
Yeah.
To share their experiences. And then following, we have an interesting trio, to say the least.
Yeah. Oh, that trio is really popular in Sydney. And I think a lot of people in Australia also know them, and they should get to know them. These people are the ones who work as the backbone in social media, and in all our IT. And they're very fun people to be around. And it is a record. Wherever these three are together, you don't have a choice but to laugh.
Totally. And as Ritika was saying, there are some people at the front and there are people behind the scenes. So we're really lucky to have our behind the scenes crew up front.
Yeah.
To get to know what makes this organization happen in Australia.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Ritika. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, audience.
Thanks. Bye.